Emily's trying to pack and stuff tonight, so I'd like to try and finish up quickly so I can help her and back her up with that. So,
cool. Hello, folks, and welcome to the Atomic Salt Live Show. This is the show where we're going to discuss everything in the tabletop hobby world. Tonight, we're going to talk about Infinity the Game, the ITS 2016 first quarter. And as always, I'm Wild Chevy, and I'm joined by Casey. Casey, how are you this week?
I'm doing great this evening, Alan. Well, I'm doing great this week, too. So tonight is just an extension of this week.
Nice. Let's start off like we normally do. Did you do anything in the tabletop hobby world this week?
Kind of, sort of. You know, we had a game night with some of our buddies. It's our usual crew, but we didn't play any of our tabletop games. We're trying to have a once a month get together where we play board games and in general just games that we wouldn't normally play. You know, stuff that's not Infinity or 40K or whatnot. You know, just kind of, you know, do things a little different.
Fun and family friendly.
You know, it was. We were over at our buddy's Chad's house, and he did have his wife and kids playing with us at one point. So, and they're good. They're sneaky little devils.
What game did you play?
Well, you were there too, but we played two games. We played Resistance, which is a cooperative game that game has seen a little bit of airtime because it got featured by Crusher, Wesley Crusher, whatever his name is. Yeah, it got featured by Tabletop. And so that's kind of like a lying, deceiving game, which is a lot of fun. It's always fun to lie to your friends. And then after that, we played Codenames, which is, again, more of a party game than a tabletop game. But again, they're fun. It was nice to do something that didn't involve miniatures for an evening. You know, every once in a while, you just gotta cleanse that palate, you know. But that's it for me as far as gaming goes. I mean, I've been mostly just painting. And by painting, I mean not painting, because it's been one of those weeks where life just kind of gets in the way of hobby. And so that's where they call it a hobby, folks. Don't mix the two.
So what are you working on tonight?
I'm working on a beep. I've been. This is going to be for, well, if I get it done in time, this will be for a competition at the SaltCon here next Thursday. It's turning out really nice. In fact, I've been trying to do beep to the beep, and I'm actually really happy with the results. So, and I say this because there's somebody that we know who is listening, who is the judge, and so he needs to be able to stay fair and unbiased.
Okay.
So, I mean, as much as I'd like...
You're not just cursing at us, okay.
No. I might be, but I can if that's what you'd like. The kids are down. Okay, now I'm going to swear. Stupid thing. You know, the last thing about it, when you have your paints really thinned down and you've got plenty of retarder in it, you can just kind of use your finger as an eraser. Yeah. Like, you feel kind of dirty doing it, but you're like, oh, it works. I've got like 2 seconds to get it up off of the model before it has some real work.
Like when I go late into the night painting, and then I'm like, I start to feel that I'm going to screw up, and then so I'm like, all right, I'm just going to call it quits for the night, and then I'll hit it with the matte spray just to seal it, and then next day if I goof up or anything, it's easy to clean that off.
What I've always found is, like, I hate the work that I do that night, and the next day I look at it and go, like, you know, that's actually not too bad. like the work I was doing on last night. I was like, oh my gosh, this sucks. I hate it. I hate myself. Why did I ever try to do this? This was a bad idea. And then I looked at it this morning. I was like, actually, I don't mind that. So, what about yourself? How's your week been?
Let's see. Yeah, I participated with you in the game night. Um, they are starting up a journeyman league for War Machine, so I'm participating in that, helping out the local crowd. I did get some painting done. I finished off um, the here. I'll share it with you guys. Finished off the Seraph for Panoceana for Infinity
Hold
in
on a
the
second.
Gundam scheme. So that's what it looks like.
That is a beautiful miniature, sir. I like the
Yeah,
sword. That turned out really nice.
yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful paint job for um, a heavily glued over miniature. But yeah, that was it for, or that's that for that. I'm working on a commission right now. This is the Monkey King from the Journey, from the board game Journey. It's the commission. That's what I'm working on tonight, just trying to get him done. Interesting painting red flesh.
Hmm.
It's a nice new challenge.
You should learn how to do that and do some more ats.
Ah, oh yeah, that's right. Evil red murder monkeys.
The maroon mugged murder monkeys.
But yeah, that's it for me, painting wise and hobby wise. But yeah, let's get to the meat of the subject. Big week for Infinity. They posted up some new miniatures.
Yeah, do you want to take a look at those? There's some nice ones there. Or what do you want to get into tonight?
We'll just briefly cover it. Miniature wise, yeah, they brought up not what was it for Aleph. What is his name?
Hector. Yeah, at first I really wasn't too impressed with Hector. I was like, okay. Um, and then I got really impressed with him, and then I kind of went back to being not quite so impressed with him. It was kind of this funny cycle that I went through. Because he looks stat wise pretty close to Achilles. Slightly different weapons. He has a Spitfire and a plasma rifle, I believe, and those are, I mean, reason enough to get kind of excited. But then he's also got Fireteam Enemotarchos, which Achilles doesn't have, and which I've always wished he did. But more than that, he's got like Super Fireteam Enemotarchos, because he can form link teams with any sort of linkable troop. So he could make a Myrmidon link team, or a Dactyl link team, or a Thorkite link team, which is pretty darn cool. And so I started getting really excited about him.
Here we have a photo of him. Yes.
Yeah, that's a horrible angle. Like, dig around a little bit and you can find. I'm not telling you to do this, but if folks want to do it, they can find a 360 view of him, which is much, much better.
Yeah, these photos that they're doing now, it's a little panned down, so you're facing up at the miniature. Yeah, some of them, but I mean, he looks pretty cool. He's got his BFG pistol, sword, a shield, and his little pop.
Yeah, I love that it's like kind of like this cool sci-fi revolver looking thing. The robot is a 10-bot A, and so I mean he might as well just be a marker. He's there because Corvus Belli still has a few anime roots in it, and they want to do a little helper bot or something. They like the idea of a little sidekick running around with you.
I mean, if you're gonna have a marker, it might as well be a cool marker.
Fair enough. But Yeah, so like I was getting really excited about him, but then it occurred to me that really all he is he's just a super Ajax. Which don't get me wrong, Ajax is really nice, but I haven't been running Ajax as much lately, simply because I find he's not always worth it. For the points, I would rather do something else. And so he's just, a bigger, badder version of Ajax. And I kind of went back to well, shoot. Do I go with Ajax who gives me 60, 75% of what this guy does for half the points? So I went full circle on this guy.
Here are the other new releases for the month. We got Devil Dog Teams, the same sculpts a little bit, except the big dog's got a shotgun. We got the Freelance Killer, Hector, as mentioned, the Corregidor Bandits, which I think look amazing, and the Sui Yan. And it very very interesting miniature.
Yeah, cool story is that on Google Plus every month I put out a little survey to people and we see what miniature out of the month everybody likes the most, and it's pretty much been tied, interestingly enough, between Hector and the Suyan, which is not what I imagine. No, sorry, it's between the Suyan and the Corregidor Bandit. They're kind of everybody's favorites. I was a little surprised by that.
I like. I mean, I'm not up to date on the bandits rules, but like the miniature itself, I think it's very cool because he's got this wicked looking sword in one hand, but on his left arm, it is he's got his punk um, jacket with the hood, but he's got this like mechanical arm or armor covering the whole left arm.
Yeah, he's got Wildcat armor on his
Yeah,
arm.
and I think it's very cool. And just like the pose is very dynamic. But yeah, the Suiyan. When it first came out, I'm like, well, this is pretty interesting. We've seen paired up miniatures before, but once they released the rules, this is actually one unit. It's got two different modes.
Yeah, he's got the Battle Cat mobility mode, and then it has the tag, stand and shoot mode. And the Battle Cat has pretty unimpressive stats. It's, with the exception of it has 8-2 movement.
Eight, 8-6 movement.
8-6?
Yeah,
Oh shoot, I read that wrong. Yeah, the thing is just crazy fast.
8-6 movement. It's got climbing plus, so it can go
And super
jumping
jump,
around
I
the map.
think.
Yeah, super jump. So
Yeah,
it's just going to be flying down the corridors, climbing through the walls.
yeah. This is probably one of the fastest, if not the fastest unit in the game.
Yeah, it's cavalry. All the motorcycles.
Yeah, but it's a regular order and it's a tag. I mean, most of the motorcycles are kind of, um, we'll say, lower quality in what they do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're fast and that's all they are.
How would you put this up against Penicillea?
So it's faster than Penicillea. Points wise, I don't remember. How many points is it?
I don't know.
For tag, I'm guessing he's probably clocking in somewhere around 70 points. So he's probably about twice the cost of Penicillea. He's got 2 structure plus no wounding cap, so he's a little more durable. I mean, like, just straight up, like, if we're going to plunk them down on the board and let them fight it out, I think I would still probably take Penicillea, because one, she has ODD, which is just really hard to get around.
Yeah.
And so, even though the Battle Cat can outmaneuver her, and would get within an optimal firing position, she shoot, I can't remember what kind of weapon he has on him, but it wasn't anything like overtly amazing. Whereas Penicillea has a lot of nice weapons. You know, she's got a nanopulsar for close range. She's got a combi rifle for mid range. She's got a contender for when she's an ARO. And then you pair that with, I mean, she's no slouch herself. I mean, with 8-6 movement, she gets around the board. You heard it here, folks. Heard it here first, folks. Penicillea gets around.
Okay, here it is. I found the profile. So Spitfire, light flamethrower, Panzerfaust, heavy pistol, knife, 2 SWC, 59 points.
Okay, you know, I'm going to revise that a little bit now. Hearing the updated Spitfire is great. The Panzerfaust is great.
And then the other is the
And
light
the
shotgun.
shotgun.
The other version is a light shotgun, light flamethrower, Panzerfaust, 0 SWC at 54 points. These are availability 3.
Oh yeah, gosh, I'm not sure I would take 3 of them because you know it's
chunk.
Yeah, that's a big chunk of points. However, for 2 points, I would love these guys. I absolutely love what they can do. I mean, for their points, that I feel like that is a reasonable points cost for what this thing can do. And I mean, just couple that with its mobility. So, yeah, I would take this over Penicillea, without a doubt. And I would probably even have them serve mostly the same role. You know, just you know, you send him out there to essentially die. You know, and he's just there to wreck everything that he can and turn and run.
Yeah, suck up points, suck up shots.
Yeah, and I mean, and he's got 2 wounds with no, or 2 structure points and no wound in cap, which is kind of surprising. I don't think we seen no wound in cap on a tag before.
No, I think that's the biggest thing that people pointed out. So it'll be interesting to see how that is.
So I think, I think that it's incredibly interesting, and I like it quite a bit now. I mean, I know originally the profile was something that nobody was really excited about, but I think that all has changed now with this new profile. It's this is a cool profile.
All right. So let's see. Look to our topic for tonight. We got a new packet for the ITS system.
Now, when you say packet, you mean set of rules, not like an actual tournament pack, because we got one of those too.
Yeah, this is the tournament system for 2016, or at least until Interplanetary, which is when this season's going to end in August.
Yeah, only a 6-month season. Kind of crazy.
That's how some of these companies are moving towards. They had their one main event of the year, and that's when they're going to celebrate all the winners of the year. So it's pretty interesting. I mean, this it's a pretty hefty packet of rules and all that. 64 pages.
Yeah, it's they've changed a lot from the last year. How would you like to go through this? I mean, do we just want to like hit the highlights of what we've seen, or were you wanted to do something a little more exhaustive here?
Let's go like the basic changes. Sportsmanship's still the same. Miniatures pretty much the same. Line of fire is still the same. Painting is the new thing. There are no hobby points in the ITS right now, and it says unless otherwise. So they're pretty much living up to the organizer themselves to have something about painting. Right now it says figures don't need to be painted, and there are no points added for being painted in your list.
Yeah, and I have a hard time with that. Like, I get the real debate is whether or not you want to penalize people for them not having their miniatures painted, and should that impact their tournament score. And there's a case to be made on both sides. One, people say you're there to play the game, not to be judged on if you paint your stuff. The other side said is that it's part of the hobby. So all I could say is, for me personally, I hate, and this was the only bad thing that I have to say about LVO, was going, and I don't think I ever played a game against somebody who had painted miniatures.
That were fully painted, or painted in general?
Painted in general. I mean, it was pretty much all silverfish. I think there was maybe one guy who had one or two of his miniatures painted.
Yeah.
And that was frustrating.
Yeah, and that's, again, it goes towards the organizer of the tournament. We know Adepticon coming up in April. They require fully painted for. It doesn't matter what system you're playing.
And you know what? I'm down with that. I really am.
Yeah, I mean, both of us. I mean, we're avid painters, and painting is a nice thing to see. I mean, when you go to the table, you want to look across the table and see another clearly painted army if you've got one.
Yeah, it's just, here's the thing. If I'm going to go to a tournament like LVO, I don't want to play against unpainted stuff. That's just ugly, in my opinion, and I don't like it. So, and I don't know, maybe just have a requirement that you need to be painted to play if you really are hard up that not have painted miniatures shouldn't disbar you or shouldn't have an impact.
Yeah.
Because I believe it should have some sort of impact.
So yeah, it looks like it's up to your tournament organizer now whether painting is required or if anything happens with painting. Next thing we see is the type of missions. We've got 3 type of missions now: direct action operations, special operations, and joint operations.
Yeah, so do you want to kind of explain the difference in those?
Yeah, so we got listed 25 missions.
Well, 21 right now, technically.
25 and several top secret. But yeah,
which direct, I imagine we'll be seeing here in the next couple of months with Operation Flame Strike. So which is a whole other topic we probably shouldn't get into right now.
That's for the next show. So let's see. Direct operations. It's missions with a predominantly offensive focus, where highly intensely combat is expected. Special operations are commando-style missions where success hinges on the use of specialized assets to achieve particular operation goals. And then joint operation is a little bit of both.
Yeah, roughly translated, it's: do you want to bring specialists? Do you not want to bring specialists? And do you want a little mix of both?
And, so, Casey, what do you think about these operations?
So, I guess I don't really understand the concept of operations, because really I think what's going to happen is you're just going to have TOs who are just going to go and pick whatever missions they like or their meta likes or what everybody wants to run. And so, CB kind of said, well, you can tell everybody that you're running this type of mission, but I don't see people doing that. Like, I like that they've diversified the need for specialists, and I like that they've said, try to give people the go-ahead to do missions, or do whole tournaments where you don't need specialists, but it just feels like a little extra layer that they don't need. Like, I'm not sure what they're trying to get out of that.
And then the other thing that we saw is that Corvus Belli is changing up how to do reporting.
Yeah, this is cool. At first, I wasn't sure about it, but I started reading about it. I started looking into it, and I really like what they're doing here.
Yeah, so they have a tournament manager app now. It's a little bit buggy. Here's what it's supposed to look like, and uh, it allows for the organizers have to post their stuff 2 weeks before the event, and it allows you to email out to your participants, track your participants, uh, and report your results. So
You say that's the way it's supposed to look.
currently, right now, it's a black screen with um, links to the store and everything. It's it's working. It needs a little work to it.
You know what? It wouldn't be Corvus Belli if their product worked right out of the gate. I mean, I would be confused if everything worked. I would assume that they had been bought out by some other company.
So, what are your thoughts on this manager reporter and then the 2 week requirement?
You know, um, I think it's to do two things. One, I accept it on face value that it's there to help people. You know, uh, you know, make it easier for TOs to do what they're trying to do, because nobody wants to have to do a whole bunch of math. And if you can save people that time, then they'll appreciate it. Uh, but honestly, I think that they are trying to do something else with this as well. Um, it's possible with their packs to um, run quick and dirty missions or quick and dirty campaigns, and you can use that to boost your score. Like let's say me and you just really want to dominate things, and so we're looking at what's happening in the United States meta. Um, and we just purchased a whole bunch of like online tournament packs, and we just blow through them, you and me, and just pump up our scores at the last minute. And I think that that's kind of why they have the 2 week thing, is to kind of try and help prevent that from happening.
Yeah, I mean, there's a level of trust and all, and when we game, but yeah, if you're gonna game the system just to bump up your ITS score, you're really not bettering yourself as a player.
No,
And then
but
they have to pull
and,
out
and
these
you know what?
rules.
That's a very great way to look at it. However, let's be honest, there are other people who say, I just want to win, and I'll take an easy way of winning.
So you mentioned scoring. Scoring has changed this in these tournament rules compared to last time.
Yeah, how have they changed?
Last time, so per round, you had your mission points, and then you had your specialist points, and then the max amount you could get each round was 10. Now it's a little bit different. Total victory is 3 tournament points, and you have to have a difference of 5 or more in your objective points. Victory is 2 points, and that's a difference of 4 or less objective points. A tie is 1. That's a difference of 0 objective points, and a defeat is 0.
Yeah, that's really changed into the way things used to be. Um, so once before I, inevitably tell you what I think, what do you think about this?
I think it. I think it makes your players push a little bit more. And when I say push, I mean it takes that little bit of risk. You want to jump for the objective, or you don't want to castle up and just wait for them to shoot you. I think it makes it a little bit more active in the scenarios.
Yeah, I think so it used to be that you had the mindset of you needed to score all 10 points in your rounds. And we've both been in tournaments where if you didn't score 10 points every round, or at least in your first round, you were screwed. There was no way you were ever going to be able to catch up with the leaders. Uh, Whereas this now just kind of helps narrow that down a little bit. It makes it possible for people to come back from a loss because let's say you still won but you didn't score max points. Now you're only down by 1 point, not down by 5 or 6 possibly.
Yeah, that I mean, ranging from 0 to 3, the point spread's a lot different.
Yeah, because typically what you would have happen in these games is the first match was critical, the second match maybe not quite so much, and then in the very last round it didn't matter because everything was all but set unless you were like an extremely tight game or something. And so I think this is pretty good.
And
I,
your victory points and your objective points are still scored too, right? But it's only for like tiebreakers.
yes, they use them for tiebreakers now.
And I mean, even taking a buy gives you just a 2 point victory, but you get 0 points for objective and victory points. So it doesn't hurt you, but it doesn't hinder you as well.
Yeah, it used to be that taking a bye was kind of like your death sentence in ITS. But now, like you said, it's not quite as bad. You can recover from a bye. Nobody wants a bye. I mean, one, nobody wants to just sit and watch everybody else play, and then two, scoring wise, it was very undesirable, and it still is to a certain extent, but it's mitigated that quite a bit. So, but at the same time, what do? You can't give somebody max points on a bye. So yeah, I think it's a good change that they've made.
All right, yeah. Like so we've a whole lot of scenarios. Are there any that order the new ones, and which ones do you want to pick out?
So, I think of the new ones, the two that are really noticeable is decapitation, and the other one is, oh gosh, what is it? Command post, I believe.
Let me pull that up.
It's one of the very last ones. The second one being the one that we kind of heard a little bit of rumors about of killing, trying to kill specialists.
All right, so here we have decapitation.
Yeah, and this one just sounds fun.
Let's see. Main objectives: kill the same amount of army points as your adversary. Kill the army points. Kill the same amount of lieutenants as an adversary. Kill more lieutenants. And so, what makes this one special? You have to actually declare your lieutenant.
Yeah, so you don't have hidden. Your lieutenant is not hidden information, like it is in every other game. And so you also don't go into loss of lieutenant in this one. If you lose your lieutenant, all you do is you just pick a new lieutenant. And so you're basically going around just trying to assassinate each other. And I think this is a lot of fun because one, it kind of encourages you to bring like those big, tough, beefy models. There are still certain rules, like you can't name a remote your lieutenant and a few other things. But yeah, I mean, imagine, because like a cutter, there's never been a reason to take a cutter in ITS ever since they took away it being a scoring option. Now all of a sudden, man, that cutter looks really good.
Or your 2 wound no wound incapacitation options. No longer just a cheerleader.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine taking the Suyan and just like running away from people?
That I mean, so you because you're going to be hiding your lieutenant. You're going to be like, all right, here he is. Come and get him. And you're going to have to fight your way to get to the guy in 3 rounds.
Yeah, so this one just looks fun. I of all of them, this is the one that I kind of want to play the most because I just think it's so different from what we've seen in ITS.
And what was the other one you were looking at?
Command Post, I think it was. It was one of the very last missions they had listed.
Let me see if I can find it.
It's the one where you're trying to assassinate specialists.
Comm Center?
Oh, that's it.
Let's take a look at that.
Do you already have this PDF all linked up?
Here we go. Comm Center. Let's see.
Yeah. So what makes Comm Center interesting? Or do you? Well, yeah. Why don't you just step through the rules? Sorry, I interrupted you. I
No problem.
apologize.
Main objectives have the same amount of connected antennas as the adversary. Have more connected antennas, same amount of specialist troops, or to kill the same number of specialist troops as your adversary. Kill more specialist troops than your adversary to kill more army points. So this is very much specialist hunter.
Yeah, this is the one that we had heard coming. They had talked about it a little bit, and it sounds like a lot of fun because kind of the meta right now is you want to bring a whole lot of just cheap specialists. One, because they provide you orders. Two, they give you options for scoring points. And now it turns out that bringing all of those wimpy little guys is actually quite a detriment. At least in this mission.
And most tournaments require 2 lists. You can play with 1 list, but you have the option of playing 2 lists. And this is it's like a double-edged sword because you've got 9 antennas on the board. You want to grab those antennas to get objective points, but at the same time, all those guys that can grab them have a target on their head.
And the other nice thing is, this mission will let you play it the way you want to. Is your army just not good at specialists? Well, then just go and kill specialists. Versus if you're really not, great at killing stuff, just, bring all your specialists and just try and score points that way. So I think this is a great compromise mission for people. And it'll kind of let people play the game the way they want to.
And 9 antennas on the table. And here we have it up on the deployment zone. It's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out the first time.
Yeah, I thought that I was in good shape for terrain, but I'm having to reevaluate things now. You got 9 antennas?
No. I have to get some markers and tokens. And
I'm sure Arsenal already sells a pack of tokens just for this.
Maybe.
Sorry, I love Arsenal, but it's kind of funny how some of these guys get heads up notice to make this stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, that's how Corvus Belli, one of the ways they make their money, but
any other missions that stand out to you?
So I think one that stands out to me isn't a new one, but it's one that they've changed around quite a bit. Is Annihilation.
Oh, Annihilation. So tell us about that while I pull it up.
Well, that I've got some pretty strong thoughts on how Annihilation is meant to be run.
Or how you can play it.
Right, or how you should play it. In the old system, it made sense to run Annihilation not as Annihilation, but as a game where you were trying to score your classified objectives and avoid conflict.
Well, it's a gentleman's agreement round.
Yeah, I've proposed that to a lot of people, and no one has ever taken me up on it.
It's gonna be a lot harder now.
Yeah, so previously the way it worked is you would get 4 points for your classified objectives. Then you could get 3 points for killing things and then 3 points for not killing things. So theoretically, if you have the right classified objectives, you could get 7 points without ever, killing anything. And that was 7 points to take forward in the tournament. And that's a lot of points. Now, however, one, because of the way the tournament system is structured, it's not how many points you actually score, but how many points you lead by. They've reduced how much classified objectives are worth. They've cut that in half, down to 2 now. And at the same time, they've pumped up the amount of points that a mission, getting ahead of myself, but killing and defending are worth 4 points apiece now. So what I was going to say is that's the other thing that I forgot to bring up is they don't need every mission to equal 10 points now. They just need missions to be worth a certain number of points. So, yeah, so I think Annihilation is actually Annihilation now. And that's kind of cool.
Yeah, you really have to go out and actually gamble with how you're gonna attack people on this one.
Yeah, so I don't know, was there any that stood out to you, Alan?
I heard Biotech 4 changed a little bit.
It did a little bit. If you're unprepared for it, it's still going to suck for you.
Biotech 4 always sucks.
No, it doesn't. Biotech 4 is the greatest mission they have.
It sucks when you're running 2 groups of with lots of orders.
Right, and that's why that mission was amazing, was because Corvus Billy saw what was going on, and they didn't want you to do that, or they wanted there to be a counter to that. Instead of letting people just, run million order lists, they said, no, that's dumb. And so they came with Biotech 4 to even the odds. But then because nobody likes to have the odds even, they all complain about Biotech 4 instead of actually learning how to play with it and deal with it.
So how would you play and deal with it? Well, let's kind of run through it a little bit.
Yeah, so Biotech 4, you're going to score points in 2 ways. One, by getting your classifieds, and 2, by defending. It's not so much killing things, it's keeping stuff alive. So, which is tough because, everything is being driven towards the center again. So
this is one of those.
Personally, I would take link teams. You can use coordinated orders, and they kind of work all right. But I think link teams with template weapons, so USARF, Myrmidons, will do fairly well here. Toha do well in everything. I think actually a great one to take for this is actually Odalisks as well. The nice thing is they're reasonably priced. You can get a decent sized link team of them, along with like another link team of stuff, and up close and personal, Odalisks do work for you, which is what this mission is really driving people towards. So, whereas before, I don't think you had a whole lot of reason to take an Odalisk in ITS. I think this mission is a reason now.
So here we have your deployment zones, and then we have this Biotech war area. This is one of those missions where it's they force you into combat type of thing. So 16 inches deep from each deployment zone. is infested by this plague at the end of each active player turn. So that means when you go at the end of your turn, everybody in that zone is take a BTS roll with against a damage 14.
Yep, and that hasn't changed at all.
It's, if you're unaware of what it is, and then if you've got a structure points, that's 2 BTS rolls you have to take instead. So yeah, it's very much they're trying to move everybody into the center.
So yeah, I mean, just everything that wants to be up close and personal. Nafatoons. Oh gosh, Nafatoons would be hilarious in this. Because I think you can link those, can't you?
I'm not positive. It's been a while.
I don't know. They're your army.
In my army, but I never run links that way. I have armies that only can allow you one link and then one special link.
Yeah. So you take a link of Nafatoons, take another link of Odalisks, and profit. Because there's no specialist options with Odalisks, right?
Let's see. What are these? No specialist.
Yeah, pretty sure there wasn't. Because then they would just be too awesome.
That's why I've never taken them as they are not. The Naftoons are not in any of the sectorals.
Oh. That. Well, slap me in the mouth and call me Shirley.
Well, surely you must be joking.
Well, that's interesting. I didn't realize they weren't in a sectoral. So, yeah, Biotech War is going to be a lot of fun. I mean, it's always been fun. It's just going to be more fun now. And I think that the point structure, they've moved that in the right direction. So, or at least in a logical direction.
All right, so as we wrap it up tonight, what are your thoughts? Are you interested in playing these rules?
Yeah, I'm really excited for the new season of ITS. I think that they've there's a few interesting changes, and I don't want to get into those because we'll just be talking about those all night. They made a few weird changes, but I think overall everything has been very good, and I think it's been very positive, and I'm excited to see it. So, and I'm excited to play an ITS event.
Cool. Well, anything else for you tonight?
No, that's it for me. What about for you?
I think that is it for me. Yeah, folks. I mean, if you're playing Infinity, let us know what your thoughts are on these new sets of rules. We'd be really interested to hear your thoughts. What missions do you want to play? What missions don't you want to play? What do you think about the lack of hobby rules? Put in the comments below. Let's start a conversation. Like this video, share it with your friends, comment, subscribe. We'll be back next week. Casey, anything else?
No, just as always, if there's something you'd like us to take a look at or there's something you'd like us to talk about, just shoot us an email at theatomicsalt@gmail.com. This has been The Atomic Salt, and ITS has blown our mind.
Have a good night, folks. See you next week.